Welcome to A Shot in the Arm podcast. I'm your host, Ben Plumley, and we're here in Rio de Janeiro for AIDS 2026. And I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by what can only be called the Shuga family. And if you don't know who Shuga is, well, first of all, you should think very carefully about why you don't know who Shuga is. But secondly, you may have known it as the MTV Staying Alive Foundation. But a new birth, a new organization, and I'm delighted to say that we are joined by three members of the Shuga family. The Executive Director, Wame Jallow. Hey, Wame.
Hey, how are you doing, Ben?
Good, thank you. JulieBrenda, who starred in the most recent Kenyan series of Shuga. JulieBrenda, it's a privilege to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And last and certainly not least, it is Jerop, who is, as well as a supporter of Shuga and supporting the development of scripts, she's also a leader in the HIV response for young people in the country itself. So welcome, guys. It's really great to have you here.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Now, first question. What is Shuga and why have we changed? Do you want to take a stab at that?
Sure, I can say that. So MTV Staying Alive, formerly, started off in 1998 as a campaign to support, build the awareness of young people. This was at the height of HIV and AIDS, and recognizing that a lot of young people don't have access to information. We started off with a docuseries, some short films, just to share information. That soon changed with time because we realized that having content was just not the end of it. It's how we actually engage with young people to ensure that the storytelling itself not only reflects their lived experiences, but helps them build agency to make informed choice. So Shuga was born in 2009 in Kenya. This is a time when it was Lupita Nyong'o was part of it. I know we all are fans of her. And
currently in the Odyssey.
Currently in the Odyssey.
And accessing the right wing in America.
Exactly. So that's exciting. And it took off as a global movement. You know, it was beautiful to see what was born in Kenya, went to South Africa, went to Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, India, etc. And I mean, I came across Shuga in Botswana in 2012. And I remember watching young people watch Shuga as an evaluator at the time. And the question that I was trying to answer is, does entertainment education actually have an impact in changing and informing the lives of young people? And will they make decisions around it as a result? And I remember saying, this can't work. You know, just watching a film, tomorrow they're going to walk away, make decisions. I was blown away. I was so wrong. We were in a beautiful community hall in a far remote area, and the young people were hooked on Shuga instantaneously. And why? Because it reflected their lives, harmful practices and issues that they dared not talk about because it was taboo, right? And it gave them the language, to be able to go to their parents, the teachers, the norm holders, as we call them, and say, this is what I'm struggling with, and how can I get help? And then it linked to services, in a very beautiful way. And you'll hear the stories as we begin to speak of how young people are able to receive that knowledge, think through what that means for them in terms of access. And some are bold and brave to actually access services, and some are using it as ways to facilitate conversations with their peers or their parents. So it really became a bridging tool for young people to dialogue. And that's the work that we're going to continue doing and amplify it even more. We recognize that there are so many formats of how we can tell stories, and we want to ensure that young people can see themselves wherever we can reach them wherever they are, more specifically, whether it's digital or television or print, in some cases radio, is meeting young people with information wherever they are. So really excited that we've made this evolution and going to tell more untold stories, because that's what we do best.
Whenever I travel across the continent, everybody says to me, Shuga, I watched Shuga.
Yes.
And I guess here we are in 2026. And the big question would be how relevant Is Shuga Now? And Jerop, maybe I could ask you, young person from Kenya, from Nairobi.
Thank you, Ben. I think entertainment is meant to make us happy. It's meant to make us feel at ease. It's meant to excite us in a way. And really that should be the perception of healthcare when we talk to young people. It shouldn't come off as this thing that you should be scared of or you should shy away from. And that's what Shuga does, because I constantly say young people living with HIV, young people seeking HIV prevention are not sick. And so when we approach it from a medicalized perspective, then they tend to feel, no, I'm not sick. No, I don't want to look for something I don't have. And so here you're just watching a normal show at the comfort of your home. It's funny, it's giddy, it has love and romance here, but it's a truly reflection of your lived reality, the relationship you're struggling with, the parent-guardian relationship you're struggling with, the choices you're struggling to mention and make, but also the health context that you probably don't think about, but also you're experiencing and you're just feeling ashamed or shy or scared. And that is what Shuga is. It's the entertainment that intersects health and makes it more fun and eager for young people today. And in the work that we do, and even in the work that I do, young people have changed. We are more open. We are more interested in interesting things, right? And when I joined this space, we used to sit in trainings, but now we want to do music. We want to bring in art and entertainment into this space because it creates an environment where you feel, okay, I can express myself. Okay, it's nothing to be scared about. It's not science. It's not hard. You can understand it. And definitely it simplifies. And yes, it's extremely relevant now more than ever, because more and more young people would rather watch a TV and a show or chat on WhatsApp or look for a post on Facebook and Instagram than walk into an actual healthcare or speak to a healthcare provider. Yeah.
JulieBrenda, you've been in this last season of Shuga.
Yes.
How real has it been for you? Again, you're a young person growing up in Kenya. Again, your parents may well have seen the first Shuga.
Oh my God. I'm gonna give an example then. So during our MTV Shuga tour, I went to see her and had a conversation with some of the lovely ladies and gentlemen, the young teens. And some of them came to me and told me their life. And it was very welcoming, very warm. But one person stood out to me. She came, she waited for everyone who left, she waited for the session to end. And then she came and said, hey, I just want to say how Asha was very relevant to me, because she ended up having a like life-transforming situation that Asha was the only person who she could relate to and could come to talk to. She couldn't go to her parents, her parents, her partners, or even her friends. She saw Asha in the show and she could relate to her. So the minute she saw me, she just wanted me to give her a hug and she broke down. Yeah.
Do you know, there are so many stories like that.
100%.
Where, you know, you actors have brought, how shall I put this, a level of reality to the experience that actually it's very hard to do in a documentary or in a real life setting. There's something very, very special about it.
Yeah.
And so I'm interested in both of your opinions on this. Jerop, you said young people are very different today. I really want to pick up on that. What is that difference? And how does it make something like Shuga need to adapt itself for this new reality? Maybe you first and then JulieBrenda.
Something I've said today is we cannot think about young people now as people who don't know what they're doing. It's actually the other way around. They are very autonomous. They have this self-agency and eagerness to express themselves, be who they are, make decisions for themselves, fit in. And when we talk about HIV, it's not scary to them. It's like, no, that's a non-issue. When we talk about protection, talk about accessing services, it's really a non-issue for them. And it's not ignorance. It comes from the place of, I want to be a young person. I want to live. I want to be young. I want to explore. But the one thing I need you to teach me is just safety. Don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me how to do it. Just show me, how do I protect myself? I can have a girlfriend, I can have a boyfriend, and that's okay. That's what I want. So this generation is very bold. And I'm a Gen Z, and I see my fellow young girls and young women, and we're so bold and we're so open and we challenge things. And so what is different with this generation is that you do not want to be the parents, but you need to be the guardian. Just guide and let them make the decision, because it's not a morality issue anymore, like the way it was with our parents, where if you have sex when you're young, it's a problem, you've committed a sin. Now they want to chase and be young people and make decisions for themselves as young as 5 years old. Yeah.
Blimey, young as 5.
Oh, yes.
Scary.
Scary, yeah.
I can attest to that.
So how does that resonate with you, JulieBrenda?
Oh, I feel like Jerop has already highlighted all the important points. But I'd say like the Gen Zs and the younger generation right now, they have access to information, and that is what they need. They do not want to be shunned. They do not want to be blocked. They just want you to sit down and treat them as decent or as human beings, like the way you and your friend can talk about something, the same way that's how they want to be treated. Yeah.
Ben, I know I'm not young.
Oh, but you
crossed
are,
over.
Wame. So young.
However, I can add a little bit to it. It was very interesting when we were developing one of our film, Johnny John Jonte, and we had some of it was informed by focus group discussions that we had with young people. And we asked them about what they feared the most, and guess what they said?
What?
They fear pregnancy,
Mm.
they fear marriage, and they fear running out of data bundles.
No, it's a big issue.
Yeah.
So if you're coming with a very specific health message, how do you package it within the context of what they most fear is also critical to consider. So it's interesting how, so that's why I said, I'm going to cross over to the young side. And I understand that, like, we need to do more convenings of young people and have more conversations with young people about what matters to them most. And then also make sure that we put them in the driving seat of creating the content that will impact them most. So I love what they both said, because that's exactly what Shuga Global is about, and creating and amplifying young people, bringing them to the table, making sure that they're behind the decisions that are made, because it affects their future. And I think not enough young people are in the driving seat of all these programs, which is quite sad.
But there's something in what you say which has been said time and time again since the start of the epidemic. So what's different now?
I feel like the generation right now is very hard-headed. Like we are, generation curses. How do we say that? We're breaking the generation curse of our parents, our sisters, how they were raised, how they were raised with the fear of never having conversations, never being able to be put in a room whereby you feel like, I don't belong. No, they're refusing that completely. I do not care if I don't belong here. I will force my way in. I don't care if you do not want to tell me this information. I will find a way to learn it. That is the now generation, and that is what is different. They do not want, or rather not even they do not want, they'd rather find their way instead of waiting for someone to guide them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, Ben, something that is different is science has changed, and now we're talking about injections and entertainment, a whole show that is created by real actors and actresses who are depicting our lives on TV, which was not there for us. But the most interesting things is that this is my life. I see Asha and I'm like, this is me. Like in school, this is who I am. My friend just went through this. I'm arguing with my parents. I don't have school fees. I'm living with an auntie. This is our lives. And we are living in a decade where young people want solutions and they don't need explanations anymore. Literally, that's just it. They want solutions. And something else that is different is we are still stuck in programming for young people and thinking, okay, a training is enough. Maybe linking and learning is enough, but there is more. Young people are not coming to the facility. So we need to go to the young people. So we need to have Shuga on the screen in their home, in their school dorms, because then that's how we bring them closer. Before, someone would say, Jerop, come for a training at LV City Health, and I'll run and I'll go and I'll be excited. Now I'm like, I need to go to work. I need to hustle. So in the evening when I have 5 minutes, I'll watch an episode and I'll learn. So I think that's also really different. Yeah.
And just to add on what you've said, it's not just young people who are tired of explanation. Everyone wants solution now.
Yeah.
We've been through all that roller coaster of what is happening. We just need to be told, okay, fine, this is the freaking solution. Yeah.
Now, you're both Kenyan. You're both in a country that has seen a massive movement of young people against the sort of status quo in government and politically. How much of that is related to the way or impacts the way you guys now think about your demands for health on your terms rather than being told what you should expect?
I think I can make a joke. Sometimes we speak and we're like, I hope no one is listening to me because I could get arrested right now.
You're on a podcast. People are listening.
It's that serious, Ben. Everything has changed. And yesterday we were just having a conversation about how on guard we are, how we didn't notice so many things, and suddenly we are noticing all the bridges and the breaking points in every system. I work in the healthcare system, and trust me, I get angry every single day. Not because of the healthcare system, but because of who is responsible of making that healthcare system work. So yes, hugely, it has played a huge role in how we think, how we see things, how we question, how us young people are now very serious about community and citizen responsibility. And really playing that role of accountability in changing what our country is. So yeah, we are all activists by nature now.
Warrior ladies.
Yes.
So the way media is consumed has been transformed dramatically.
Yeah.
How has that helped the way you communicate health messages? Is that evolution moving in your favor, or is it a challenge that you've got to respond to?
I think it's a bit of both. Yeah, we still have a bit of backlash when it comes to certain conversations, especially in the media space. There are other conversations that are perceived easily and comfortably, even with the young peers or even the leaders that are governing us. So I would say it's a bit of both, and we're trying to maneuver that as much as possible.
So back to your issue about data bundles.
Yeah.
You know, the use of clips, the use of short form content to get a story, a laugh across, while also pointing people in the direction of what they may want to know about HIV, or it could be pregnancy or what have you. It's interesting for both of you, actually. How have you exploited that?
I think one of the most interesting things is Shuga is bringing the conversation. Wame says it's allowing people to have uncomfortable conversations in their home. In Kiswahili, we have a saying of, if you don't teach a child when they're young, then it will be so difficult to teach them when they're older, right? So we don't have comprehensive sexuality education in Kenya. It's still a war we've been fighting for decades. But here you have a show that has bits and pieces that can allow people in a home, in a family, a child, a teenager with their parents to have certain conversations. But the most interesting thing is the show alone is a small bit of it. But then there's a peer educator you can meet on ground. And then there's a chatbot when the show is going on that you can speak to someone if you need more support. So it's not just a show, but it's a holistic program that is allowing young people to have access to different support system. And young people are not the same. Sometimes the movie is enough for one person you can understand, but sometimes you need a peer educator, a physical person to be able to talk to. So it's not the easiest, and like Brenda said, there's been a lot of backlash, and I know Wame will talk about it, especially with the media and the religious leaders. But we are doing the most important thing with Shuga for the young people of tomorrow, for my younger siblings, really. As like, sit here, you need to watch this show, write notes, and then you'll ask me after.
Just to add on what you said, the people who are giving us backlash, their time is almost over. So the reason why we're doing this thing is just to start that conversation. Even if we get kids and their kids, we have already set a blueprint for them. And we are going to a generation whereby it's mostly digital. Most of the information is on your phone, is on your tablet. There's a child who's 10 years old, is glued to their phone. So we need to at least have that kind of information whereby whatever they're watching is impactful.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then that puts you in competition with other forms of entertainment that may not be as informed, I'll say directly helpful. You know, one of the problems that we've been facing right across the globe is the re-emergence of the manosphere, this sort of very patriarchal approach to masculinity, and particularly how that then relates to femininity. And I'd be really interested in understanding some of the feedback, the kickback that you've seen and how you deal with it.
Honestly, just being open to whatever is happening and having a conversation. We were having a conversation yesterday with one of our colleagues, and she was talking about her children and the kind of content they consume. And they met this YouTuber who normally carves their faces just to look a certain way. And she proceeded to ask her child, "Do you think this is okay?" So the child was like, "Yeah." Then they started breaking everything down from the content, from the information that this person is saying. And then by the end of that conversation, the child was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think that's okay." So I think just having an open conversation and letting them make that decision for themselves.
As you take it up to the 38,000 foot level, Wame, what does this mean for Shuga Global?
So, yeah, that's a really excellent question. As the conversation is going, I was like, oh man, this is why Shuga exists and why it's important. So the first thing about Shuga that's made it quite powerful is the trust, right? The trust building. And that is not something that happened overnight. You know, the identity of Shuga, as you rightly said, Ben, earlier, and, you know, same thing that Jerop alluded to, is like everyone has a Shuga story, right? They've grown up with Shuga for a long time. You've kind of seen the evolution of Shuga. You can follow that, and it has become a trusted brand, right? And that helps contend with misinformation. And I think that's a big thing that we are challenged with as well, is, you know, understanding what are the issues that young people are contending with, what are the misconceptions that are out there, manosphere, et cetera, and then how do we bring that into our films and actually create dialogue about it, and then contend with it and say, here's what the truth looks like. And because it's a trusted brand, young people see that as, oh, okay, I can then engage in this conversation on, for example, social pages, social media pages. They're able to say, well, this is my belief, this is what I think. And they say it out loud. And we're able to show the negative or the positives in that kind of conversation. So the engagement side is a very crucial part of the work. Content is very one-dimensional, like you're telling people, you're telling the stories. The community side, which is the peer education and screenings, allows for us to then be able to contend with some of that misinformation, course correct, and shift norms and behaviors as a result of it. So that part of the work is equally important as the content itself. And I can't understate that. It's a really, really critical side of that. And just excited that it's young people who are going into the fields and having these conversations, having watched Shuga and all those clips. Yeah.
So here we are, Rio. What are you learning? What are you picking up from the corridors, from the Rialto, as it were?
I think one is the movement has changed. It's no longer the same thing it was 2 years ago. Money-wise, resources-wise, priority-wise, and there are questions of how do we actualize 0 new infections in the next 5 years? How do we program differently? What are the missing links? Who are we leaving behind? And so for me, what I'm really picking is there's still room for us to do more. There's still room for us to make sure we're not leaving anyone behind, but there's need for us to think differently now. You know, rethinking, just like the theme says, thinking about how do we program differently, how do we engage the governments more for sustainability and really community leadership. I think for me, those are the things I'm picking up. Yeah.
How about you, JulieBrenda?
Since it's my first conference, I feel like I'm a child, just trying to soak in as much information as possible. One thing that stood out to me, especially today, is I learned about, I don't know if this is inappropriate to say.
Nothing is inappropriate.
Okay, cool. I learned about female condoms. Did not think that was a thing. And I even demonstrated and did how to. And it was interesting to learn that. So I'm just at awe during this whole session, and I hope I get to learn more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a lot of science presented here. It's very exciting in terms of the new drugs that are coming on board. We've got, long acting that's every 6 months for prevention. We've got new formulations that are once a week or once a month. There's a real choice agenda for treatment being developed here. And I also sense that there is a choice agenda being developed in the way we communicate and reach people. Your parents, people like me, who would presumably be your grandparents, we're used to watching terrestrial television. It was hard enough getting used to cable TV, right? So how are you seeing how all this changed? I think you're absolutely right. It is a moment of great change. Are you in control of it?
At personal level, as a person, yeah, maybe in one way or the other, but there's someone else who is somehow in control. For example, I've been on treatment. So there's someone who needs to provide the free treatment for me. And if they do not, then that could be a problem. I work with young girls who need LEN and they need cabotegravir or the pivarin ring, but someone else is in control to be able to provide this. I want to empower them, but someone needs to give me resources. So in my personal capacity, yes, somehow. But at large scale, when I think about the people I serve and work for, unfortunately, someone else is still in control. Yeah.
Kind of feels like a puppet and a puppet master. And yes, you are given control for a bit until the puppet master decides, no, we're going to change direction. Yeah.
But I sense happening here, no longer are people like Wame and me encouraging young people to take a seat at the table.
Yeah.
You guys aren't even knocking on the door. You're sitting at the table before we even walk in.
Yes.
And I think that's fascinating. It's definitely the right thing anyway. I mean, the absurdity, say, of someone like me telling a young girl in Kenya, this is how you prevent HIV. I mean, the absurdity of that. Yet there's still thinking here from decades of public health thinking that it's absolutely appropriate that that be done by a trained health professional, And I'm sensing a very different kind of ownership of people of your generation.
Actually, Brenda, if I can add to that, I mean, I'm also hearing a lot that young people are saying, well, if you're not going to give me a seat at the table, I'm going to create my own table.
And
So what we're seeing more and more is young people creating their own spaces now for the engagement. Now, the difficulty and the challenge is there isn't enough funding to back up then the solutions that are created by the young people. So instead of allowing that to continue happening, how can we empower the young people to then either bring them into the fold completely, so that then, like what was said, it's not just about creating the solutions, but giving young people the financing to be able to actualize those solutions is the next step. And that's something that, you know, we all need to, like you and I, need to take a step back and allow for that to happen.
We've got to shut up.
We do.
Is basically what it comes down to,
We
isn't
do.
it?
yeah.
So I'd be really interested, you know, how you find this week, how you find the science, the behavioral science, the community village. Apparently there is a film playing that includes me. I encourage you not to watch that. But there's all sorts of things going on here. And I think we're also seeing, you know, at the geopolitical level, we're seeing the United States of America pull back. And that's really worrying, but it's also a big opportunity. And so what I would love to see is you participating with the National AIDS Control Council, with the Ministry of Health, on you really calling the shots on what the prevention, treatment and awareness campaigns and access should be for your age, for your populations. How do we do that?
I think at country level, even when Shuga is implementing programs, it's engaging the county health teams, the Ministry of Health officials. More than ever, I think partnership will play a huge role in how we sustain the program moving forward. So sometimes we say we are going to fight later, but now we have to work. We'll fight outside this room, but now civil society, the government have to see eye to eye so that the community benefits. And so we are sitting in the room and we're engaging them, but we're also really allowing ourselves to enter their rooms and say, it's not just about the pill, it's not just about the injection. You give the product, I give the information, they come and we all win. So really it's working together and collaborating, and inviting them to our space. And now they're inviting us to their spaces as well. Yeah.
So look, we're coming up to the end of the hour for the podcast.
Oh no.
What have we missed? What are the things that you want to say? Ben, do not forget this.
I think everyone should watch all the Shugas.
Yes.
From the first one to the newest one.
Yes.
Yes, I think so. Everyone should. There's such a dynamic. The one for Lupita, it's like the lives of our parents and our older sister. And then now we have Asha, who is just my age, and she's like me, and she's depicting our current lifestyle. So everyone should watch Shuga, no matter what country you're in. There's translation, I promise. Yes.
And with watch parties, so that they can have conversations after.
Yes, you can have watch parties and eat popcorns. Yes.
What have we missed?
I feel like they've already said everything. Yeah, I don't have anything to add at this moment. Yeah.
Well, it just remains then for me to thank you, all three of you, for being Shuga here at the conference.
Thank you.
Being the voice both of young people, but also the media industry and the role that we have to play in responding to HIV. So I wish you the best for the conference and keep us posted. Would love to know what you learn.
Great. Thanks, Ben.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Ben.
Well, that's it for this podcast episode. Thank you to our wonderful guests from Shuga. Thanks also to Erica Spera, our director and producer from A Shot in the Arm Media. And finally, a big thanks to you. You can find us wherever you download your podcasts and, of course, on our YouTube channel. So with that, have a great day and a safe day, everyone.